Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Zuhair and today I will tell you step by step how you can apply to US universities for absolutely free. I will share exactly how I applied to 12 American universities without paying a single cent and how you can do the same for up to 20 universities. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, before we talk about the US college application process and how you can save hundreds of dollars in application fee, I would like to answer one of the most asked questions that you guys have, which is how to get the application fee waived for Canadian universities, especially University of Toronto, which requires 180 Canadian dollars to apply. The answer is really simple. University of Toronto, like most foreign universities in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe, does not offer application fee waiver to international students or even domestic students. So there is no other option but to pay the application fee from your pocket or ask any external organization like a non-profit or education trust in your area or country to help you pay it. When I applied to University of Toronto last year, even though the application fee was financially burdensome for me, I had no other option but to borrow money to pay the application fee. Now, if you're thinking of applying to US universities, let me tell you that you'll not just be overwhelmed with the ton of requirements from writing essays upon essays to submitting your standardized test scores, but you'll also find that with the completion of each step in the application process, you'll be charged a fee. And soon, these small payments will turn into hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. You'll find that there is not just the application fee to apply to universities, but there's also a fee to send your financial aid application or CSS profile, and there's also a fee to report your standardized test scores including SAT, ACT, TOEFL and IELTS. But the good news is that most American universities are much more generous and considerate compared to other foreign universities, and they eliminate and waive most of these costs for students who genuinely cannot afford to pay them, including international students. Okay, let's talk about the first cost in the US college application process, which is the application fee. The application fee is charged by universities and colleges when you apply to their institution. Each college has its own fee. In general, it ranges from $0 to $100, which means that some colleges do not charge an application fee when you apply, but most of them do. According to US News, the average application fee of 62 US universities, which includes all the top ranked US universities, is about $78. Now imagine applying to 12 of these universities. It would end up costing you more than $900 in just the application fee. When I was applying to US universities last year, this was exactly the problem I faced. I was planning to apply to 12 universities including MIT, Stanford, Amherst College, NYU Abu Dhabi, all the Ivy League schools, and you know what? Just the total application fee to apply to these 12 universities was coming out to be 930 US dollars or approximately 70,000 rupees. Then after researching about eliminating this application fee, I got to know about application fee waivers, where if you meet certain eligibility requirements, you can apply to colleges without paying the application fee. Now, there are two types of application fee waivers in the US college applications. One, school-specific fee waiver, and two, application portals fee waiver. As the name suggests, school-specific or university-specific fee waivers are institutional fee waivers that are granted to eligible students from a specific university. These fee waivers can only be used to apply to that university and not others. Now, as these fee waivers are school-specific, their requirements and eligibility criteria are also specific to the university. For instance, Amherst College has two school-specific fee waivers. One, access to Amherst fee waiver, and two, quick pass fee waiver. The access to Amherst fee waiver is for students who attend Amherst's A2A or access to Amherst program, which is one of their diversity outreach programs, while the quick pass fee waiver is for all students who demonstrate financial need, and it can be obtained by filling the Amherst quick pass application form. So yeah, school specific fee waivers are very specific to the school and sometimes specific to a group of people. For example, NYU has a school-specific fee waiver for US military veteran only. Therefore, research and see if the universities you are applying to offer school-specific fee waivers which you might be eligible for and apply to them. Also, be sure to read and properly understand the fee waiver requirements and policies before applying to them. The second type of fee waiver is the application portals fee waiver. In the US, there are various application portals which make it easy for students to apply at multiple universities through one platform. And these portals have their own fee waivers that allow you to apply at any university through that platform for free. Let's talk about the most popular one, the Common App. For those of you who don't know, Common App is an undergraduate university application website where you can apply to multiple universities in the US and 20 different countries by filling a single application. Almost all students use the Common App to apply at American universities, but there are other platforms as well like the Coalition application and Universal College application, which are less popular platforms yet alternatives to the Common App. I would definitely recommend you to use the Common App since the other platforms do not have a lot of free resources for guidance, and sometimes they even charge you extra fees with every additional application you fill out. So yeah, go ahead with the Common App. Now, Common App is a non-profit organization and it offers its own application fee waiver to make sure that the application fee isn't a barrier or financial burden to prospective students. The great thing about the Common App fee waiver is that it is a general fee waiver, which means that if you receive the Common App fee waiver, it will waive the application fee for any college you apply to through the Common App, and you won't be asked to pay the application fee for up to 20 institutions. Now, you might be thinking that what is the need of school-specific fee waivers when you can get the Common App fee waiver and apply to as many as 20 colleges for free? Yeah, you are right. In most of the cases, students do not need to apply for school-specific fee waivers because if you are eligible for the Common App fee waiver, you don't need to pay the application fee for all the colleges on your college list. But again, it's nice to know all the options you have at your disposal before you apply. Okay, let's talk about the eligibility criteria, because not everyone can receive the Common App fee waiver, as it is based on financial need and your ability to pay the application fee without it burdening your family. According to the Common App, the fee waiver is only given to students who qualify based on different quote-unquote indicators of economic need. Basically, there are 8 different guidelines set by the Common App, and meeting any one of them will qualify you for the Common App fee waiver. Okay, let's go over each of them one by one, starting with the first one. You have received or are eligible to receive an ACT or SAT testing fee waiver. The ACT or SAT testing fee waiver is only offered by the College Board to US citizens and international students residing in the US. And if you're someone who has already received an ACT or SAT testing fee waiver from College Board, you can choose this option. However, if you are an international student residing outside the US, which is almost everyone here, you can not choose this option. Alright, the second criterion is you are enrolled in or eligible to participate in the Federal Free or Reduced Price Lunch Program, FRPL. In the US, low-income students are eligible to receive reduced price or free meals at school. And if you are someone who is part of the National School Lunch Program in America, you can choose this option. But again, international students are not eligible for US governmental programs, and so this eligibility criterion is only applicable for US citizens and not international students. Okay, third criterion. Your annual family income falls within the income eligibility guidelines set by the USDA Food and Nutrition Service. Now, every year, the United States Department of Agriculture or USDA sets income eligibility guidelines for schools, institutions, and government facilities to help them determine which families and children are eligible to receive free and reduced price meals from the US government. On the USDA website, you can find the income eligibility guidelines for each year. For the year 2021 to 2022, if your family has 4 members and you are earning less than $49,025, then you are eligible for US school lunch program as well as the Common App fee waiver. But again, this eligibility criterion is very specific to US states and territories, so international students cannot choose this option. Next criterion. You are enrolled in a federal, state, or local program that aids students from low-income families. For example, TRIO programs such as Upward Bound. Again, this statement is talking about federal, state, and local programs that come under the US government and are specific to US citizens and residents only. Hence, international students cannot choose this option as well. Fifth criterion. Your family receives public assistance. In general, public assistance means that a government or state pays money to people who are poor, unemployed, or sick in the country. Now, this statement can mean public assistance offered by the US government or public assistance offered by any other country's government. It isn't exactly clear whether Common App means public assistance from the US government only or public assistance from other countries' government is also included. Now, if you're someone who receives public assistance directly from the US government, go ahead and choose this option. But if you're an international student and you receive some form of aid from your country's government, I would suggest you to be on a safe side and not choose this option unless none of the 8 eligibility criteria applies to you. Alright, moving on to the next criterion. You live in a federally subsidized public housing, a foster home, or are homeless. Like the previous statement, there is the same ambiguity here. It isn't exactly clear whether this statement includes international students who live in public housing, foster home, or are homeless in their country. Again, if you live in a government subsidized housing or a foster home in the US, or you are homeless in the US, straight away choose this option. However, if you are an international student and this option applies to you in your country, I would recommend you to not choose this option unless only this option applies to you out of all the 8 eligibility criteria. Okay, next criterion. You are a ward of the state or an orphan. Again, the same US and non-US ambiguity in the word state. If the word state is referring to the US, then this can be a tricky option for international students. Therefore, yet again, if you are an international student, choose this option only if none of the eligibility criteria applies to you. Moving on to the last criterion, and this is the savior for international students. This is the eligibility criterion I chose when I applied to 12 top American universities for free. And as far as I know, majority of the international students who request a Common App Fee Waiver choose this option. I hope you too can choose this option and avoid the ambiguous statements I mentioned before. Okay, the criterion is you can provide a supporting statement from a school official, college access counselor, financial aid officer, or community leader. Basically, this statement means that your school official, college counselor, financial aid officer, or community leader can attest to your financial need and can provide a supporting statement or letter that paying the application fee will be a financial burden for you and your family. They can also attest that not getting a fee waiver can deter you from applying to the universities because paying the application fee will pose a financial hardship. Don't worry. If you choose this option, in most of the cases, you'll not be asked to provide a supporting statement as long as your school counselor or school official verifies and confirms your eligibility. Actually, no matter what option you choose, if you request the Common App Fee Waiver, your school counselor or school official will have to verify that paying the application fee will be a financial burden for you. On their Common App portal, they will be shown the same 8 eligibility criteria for the Common App Fee Waiver eligibility in a little bit different wording, and will be asked to confirm that you are eligible for the fee waiver by choosing the option that applies. Now, filling out the Common App Fee Waiver and getting it verified from your counselor does not guarantee that you will receive the fee waiver. In 99% of the cases, yes, it does, but it is important to remember that Common App Fee Waiver is a fee waiver request, and it is up to the universities to approve or decline your request based on various different factors in your profile. Mostly, if you request the Common App Fee Waiver and your counselor approves it based on the eligibility criteria, you will receive the Common App Fee Waiver. But if the university or college you applied to feels that you aren't eligible for the fee waiver based on your personal details and profile, they may ask you to provide the supporting statement or extra information to prove that you qualify for the fee waiver. In my case, I chose the last eligibility criteria and my counselor did the same. I was able to submit my application to 12 institutions for free and none of them declined my fee waiver request or asked me to pay the application fee. Therefore, read the eligibility criteria carefully and see whether your financial circumstances can qualify you for the Common App Fee Waiver. If they do, then go ahead and requesting the fee waiver and asking your counselor to verify your need. Now, I'll tell you exactly how you can request the Common App Fee Waiver step by step. Actually, it is really easy to request the Common App Fee Waiver if you understand the eligibility criteria I mentioned before. Okay, let's start the process. Step 1 is to go to commonapp.org and register on the Common App. And once you do that, step 2 is to go to the Common App section on your Common App portal and select the profile section. Step 3 is to scroll down and select the Common App Fee Waiver subsection. Here it says that our member colleges want to make sure that the application fee do not pose a barrier for any student who wishes to apply for admission. Do you feel that your financial circumstances might qualify you for an application fee waiver? Click on the yes option that yes, you'd like to request the Common App Fee Waiver. Step 4 is to select at least one of the 8 eligibility criteria which applies to you and sign. I've already explained you all the eligibility criteria in detail, and so accordingly select the indicators which apply to you. I would like to reiterate that it is safer and better to choose the last option if you can manage to get a supporting statement upon any university's request than to choose the other statements that specifically apply to US residents and are ambiguous for international students. I chose the last eligibility criteria. I can provide a supporting statement from a school official, college access counselor, financial aid officer, or community leader. Now, once you choose the criteria that best applies to you, go ahead and type your full name in the signature box to certify your request. Step 5 is to skip the last section, which is only for US residents, and click continue. And that's it. This is how you request the Common App Fee Waiver. And once you request it, it applies to all the colleges on your college list. And you don't have to repeat the process again and again for every college on your list. On your Common App, you have done your part. But your Common App Fee Waiver request isn't fulfilled until your counselor confirms your answer by completing the exact same process on their Common App. Now, I'll show you how your counselor needs to fill out and verify the Common App Fee Waiver request. I'm showing the counselor part with a fake account to make you guys aware of what a counselor needs to do to successfully verify the Common App Fee Waiver request. Because a lot of students have counselors who do not know how to complete the process, and some students do not even have a counselor and they have to ask their school teacher or principal to complete the school counselor section for them. So if your counselor or school official doesn't know much about navigating and filling out the Common App Fee Waiver section, be sure to let them know about it. Okay, moving to step number 6, which is to invite your counselor or school official on the Common App. Before being able to invite recommenders on the Common App, you'll need to add at least one college on your Common App college list. To do this, you'll need to go to the college search section, type in the name of the universities you are applying to, and add them to your college list. Let's say you want to apply to Princeton University. Type its name in the box and click on the plus sign to add it. Once you have added it to your college list, go to My Colleges and click on Princeton University. Now on the left, go to the Recommenders and FERPA section, and now you will see a small notice which says that before you can invite your counselor, teacher, recommenders, parents, or advisors, you must complete the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act release authorization process. Step 7 is to complete the FERPA release authorization. Now, if you don't know much about FERPA, let me explain this to you in brief. FERPA is a student privacy law in the United States which gives students and their parents the right to access and see all of the students' educational records, and that includes all the applications submitted to the universities. In short, through this law, you will be able to review everything your counselors and teachers submit to colleges, including letter of recommendations. But that's not the whole picture. You have the option to give up your right, so you can never see what your counselors and teachers submit to colleges. Now you might be thinking, why will anyone give up this right? Who doesn't want to see what their teachers write about them? Now, some teachers and school counselors do not write a letter of recommendation for a student who hasn't waived their FERPA right, because when the student enters the university, they'll be able to see the LOR through their FERPA right. In the FERPA release authorization, Common App asks you whether you want to waive your FERPA right or don't want to waive it. Waiving your FERPA right means that you gave up your right to review your confidential documents and will never be able to view what your counselor submits, only if your counselor doesn't want to show it to you. If your counselor and school teachers are comfortable sharing your letter of recommendation, there is no problem in doing that, and you will be able to see your LORs. But then too, I would recommend you to waive this right, because when you waive your right, colleges see that you have waived your right and that your school teacher and counselor doesn't have any pressure, and they can write whatever they want in the LOR, since you have waived your right and will never be able to read or review what they submit. Waiving this right will increase the authenticity of your LORs in the eyes of the admission officers and will let them feel that the LORs are in fact open and truthful. Alright, so in order to invite our counselor, let's first complete the FERPA authorization. Click on the Complete Release Authorization. A pop-up appears over here. You can read all of this and the FAQ to know more about this law. When you are done, scroll down, check the option I have read and understood the FERPA release authorization above, and click on the Continue button. Now you can read this option as well. Basically, it says that you acknowledge and understand that your school can release all of your educational records required by the universities, and that the universities can review them and contact the school if they have any question or want more information. Check this option as well and scroll down. Here you can either waive your right or not waive it. I suggest you waive it. The last option says that this authorization will apply to all the universities and colleges on the college list, and that you cannot change your decision of waiving or not waiving once any teacher or counselor submits their recommendation or you submit your application to any university. Basically, you can only complete the authorization once, so be sure to fill this carefully. Once you check the option, type your full name here in the signature box and select the date of the day you are completing the authorization. Click on Save and Close and you are done. This will unlock the options to invite your counselor, school teachers and more. I'll invite a counselor for now. Type in their email address, full name, last name, title and boom! They'll be sent an invitation to submit the school documents (LOR) as well as complete the Common App Fee Waiver verification. Now step 8 is to ask your counselor to set up the counselor's Common App account. Once you send the invitation, your counselor or school teacher will receive an email telling them that they are invited on the Common App, and then they can click on the link to activate their Common App account. Once the account is set up and activated, your counselor's Common App dashboard will look something like this. Now all of the students who have invited the counselor will appear over here, and your counselor needs to click on your name to complete your documentation. Clicking on your name will open your profile, and the number of options that will show up on the left depends on the colleges you have chosen and their specific requirements. For instance, if you choose to apply early decision to a college, an early decision agreement will also show up here. But anyways, step 9 is to click on the fee waiver option on the left and choose the right option that verifies the student's need. Now this is very important. Here it says that the student must meet at least one of the following indicators of economic need. Check all that apply. If no item is checked, the request will be denied. Now all of these options or indicators of economic need are basically the eligibility criteria for the Common App Fee Waiver. And it is extremely important for your counselor to not just choose at least one option from the 8 eligibility criteria, but to also choose the right option for you. Therefore, if your counselor is filling out the Common App for the first time and they don't know much about the fee waiver, do let them know what they're supposed to do step by step. Because in case if your counselor messes this section up or they skip this section, your fee waiver request will get rejected and you'll have no other option but to pay the application fee for all the universities you're applying to. As you all know, I didn't have a school counselor, and so when I sent the counselor invitation to my school principal, I called him and explained everything to him. In fact, I even went on to conduct a Google Meet with him and explain him all the fee waiver options on the Common App so he can complete it in the right manner. If you can arrange an online or offline meeting with your counselor, I highly recommend you conduct one so you and your counselor can complete the requirements in the right way. As I said before, most of these indicators only apply to US residents. Therefore, to be on the safe side, I would suggest you to ask your counselor to choose the last option. And this is the option my counselor chose when he completed my Common App Fee Waiver. It says, given my knowledge of this student's family circumstances and after reviewing the eligibility guidelines, I believe that providing the application fee would present a hardship. Once your counselor checks all the options that apply or at least one option that applies to you, they'll need to click on Review and Submit. Step 10 is to sign and submit the fee waiver request. Now, once your counselor clicks on the Submit button, it will open a few more options. The first one says that this form or the Common App Fee Waiver criteria that the counselor just filled is applicable for all the institutions on the student's college list, and the counselor will not be able to edit or change anything after its submission. So yeah, your counselor needs to read this and check it. Once it's checked, they'll need to electronically sign and certify the request by typing their full name. Lastly, your counselor needs to select the date of that day and hit the submit button. And that's it, you and your counselor have successfully requested the Common App Fee Waiver, and a green checkbox will appear beside the fee waiver section on your counselor's Common App, indicating that the fee waiver section is completed. Now, after you have completed your fee waiver request and you start submitting your application to the universities, you'll easily be able to bypass the payment section without paying a cent, as you'll automatically get jumped to the review section where you can go over your entire application, review it, type your signature and submit it. As long as you are a student in need and you genuinely meet the eligibility criteria, there is no need to worry about the application fee for all the universities or colleges you will be applying to if you have filled the Common App Fee Waiver. Now guys, I want to share one bad news if you are planning to apply to MIT. It is that MIT is not on the Common App, which means that Common App Fee Waiver isn't available when you are applying to MIT. But the good news is that MIT has its own application fee waiver on its own application portal. Let me tell you how you can get that too. Once you create an account to apply at MIT, your dashboard will look something like this. On the left, head over to the fee waiver request section, and here you can see that it says the application fee of $75 is payable online with a credit card. We understand that paying college application fees presents a hardship for many families. Fee waivers are available for both domestic and international applicants. MIT practices need-blind admissions, so requesting a fee waiver will not have any negative impact on your chances of admission. Would you like to request a fee waiver? If you'd like to request a fee waiver as it might be a hardship for you, go ahead and check yes. And you are done. It is as simple as that. There is no formality of a counselor verifying your request or the university not accepting your fee waiver. Just clicking yes on this question will in 99.99% of the cases guarantee you an application fee waiver. Now, before I end this video, I would like to clear one more question which is present in the minds of a lot of students, and that is, should I apply for the Common App Fee Waiver and other school-specific fee waivers or not? The simple answer to this is to ask yourself whether paying the application fee for colleges will cause a financial strain on your family. If yes, just go ahead and apply. The good news is that most students from the developing countries easily get fee waivers, not just on the Common App, but for CSS profile and other components of the application at most universities. Because even if you belong to a good earning household, the average household income in developing nations is far less than that of US households. By the way, I will soon be uploading a video on CSS profile fee waiver and show you the exact breakdown of my expenses when I applied to 12 universities in the US, from sending test scores to submitting my financial aid applications. So do subscribe the channel and hit the bell notification icon to not miss that video once I upload. Also guys, do share this video with your friends, relatives, even your counselor or school teacher who might benefit from this. And lastly, if this video helped you a little bit in understanding the Common App Fee Waiver, do smash that like button. I hope you receive the Common App Fee Waiver, and if you have any questions or suggestions or video ideas, do let me know in the comments below. If you are still watching, firstly, you are awesome, and secondly, do let me know it by commenting "I watched till the end" in the comments below. Okay, thank you so much for watching till the end. See you in the next video. Goodbye and take care.
Dun, 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 dun.